Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is buying a coffee. Someone is purchasing a house. Someone is getting paid. Someone is becoming richer. And all of it depends on one thing: money. It's so common that we rarely stop to think about it. But imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that money no longer exists. No cash, no credit cards, no bank accounts, no online payments, nothing. How would you buy food? How would you pay rent? How would businesses survive? And more importantly, would civilization itself collapse? Before we continue, comment below. If money disappeared forever tomorrow, what would be the very first thing you'd trade for? The answer might reveal more about society than you think. And if you enjoy videos that make you question everything you thought you knew, subscribe now, because we post a new fascinating video every week. Now let's go back to a time before money existed. A time when humans had to solve one of the biggest problems in history. How do you trade with strangers? A world before money. Imagine you're living 10,000 years ago. There are no banks, no wallets, no prices, no salaries, no billionaires, no shopping malls, no online stores, no stock markets. Your entire village survives through cooperation. You grow food, your neighbor makes tools, someone else hunts animals, another person builds shelters, everyone has something useful, and everyone needs something from someone else. So how do you get what you need? Simple. You trade. If you have eggs and need vegetables, you exchange eggs for vegetables. If you need a spear, you trade something valuable for it. This system is called barter, and for thousands of years, it worked. At least, it worked well enough. But there was one huge problem. A problem that would eventually change human history forever. Imagine you own chickens. You have plenty of eggs. But you need a new spear. So you visit the village toolmaker. The problem? He doesn't want eggs. He already has enough food. Instead, he wants animal skins. Now you need to find a hunter. But the hunter doesn't want eggs either. He wants firewood. Suddenly, a simple trade becomes incredibly complicated. You need to find the right people at the right time, who want exactly what you have. Economists call this the double coincidence of wants. Both people must want exactly what the other person is offering. And as villages grew into towns and towns grew into cities, this problem became impossible to ignore. Imagine trying to run New York City using only barter. Need a laptop? Trade what? Need surgery? How many chickens is that worth? Need a car? How many sacks of wheat equal a vehicle? The larger society became, the more broken barter became. Humans needed a better solution. Then something remarkable happened. Different civilizations around the world began experimenting with a new idea. Instead of directly exchanging goods, what if everyone agreed on a common item that could represent value? Some societies used shells, others used salt, others used beads. Eventually, many civilizations settled on precious metals: gold, silver, copper. For the first time in history, people could trade indirectly. You didn't need to find someone who wanted your eggs. You simply traded your eggs for money. Then used that money to buy whatever you wanted. The impact was enormous. Trade exploded. Cities expanded. Markets appeared everywhere. Civilization accelerated. In many ways, money became the operating system of human society. But what if that invention never happened? What would the modern world look like today? Imagine modern Earth. But money was never invented. Not dollars, not euros, not cryptocurrency, nothing. Walk into a grocery store. There are no prices. You want bread? What do you offer in return? A service? A skill? An object? Now imagine millions of people trying to do this every day. The entire economy becomes a giant negotiation. Buying a phone becomes complicated. Buying a house becomes nearly impossible. Buying medicine becomes a challenge. Every transaction requires a separate agreement. The efficiency of modern society disappears overnight, and that's only the beginning. At least not in the way we think about wealth today. Without money, measuring wealth becomes difficult. Today, wealth is easy to calculate. A billionaire has billions of dollars. Simple. But in a moneyless world, what does wealth look like? Land, food, animals, resources, skills? The richest person might simply own the most useful things or control the most valuable land. Wealth would still exist, but it would be far more difficult to store, far more difficult to transfer, and far more difficult to measure. Now imagine going to work. You spend 8 hours helping build houses. At the end of the day, what do you get? Without money, your employer can't hand you a paycheck. Maybe they give you food. Maybe they give you clothing. Maybe they provide housing. Maybe they exchange services. But this creates another problem. How do you measure value? How many fish equal a doctor's salary? How many potatoes equal a software engineer's work? How many cows equal a year of education? Money solves this problem by giving society a shared measuring tool. Without it, assigning value becomes incredibly complicated. Every job would require endless negotiation. Every exchange would be different. Every transaction would take more time. Now think bigger. Much bigger. Think about the internet. The device you're using right now exists because millions of people cooperate. Engineers, designers, factory workers, programmers, scientists, shipping companies, satellite operators, electric companies, data centers. Without money, coordinating this level of cooperation becomes extremely difficult. Modern technology depends on massive global networks, and those networks depend on efficient exchange. Without money, many technologies might never be invented. Your smartphone, online banking, streaming services, social media, even the internet itself. The world would likely remain far more local, far more isolated, and far less connected. Modern governments rely heavily on money, taxes, budgets, military spending, infrastructure, public services. All of it depends on a monetary system. Without money, a world without money wouldn't necessarily be worse. It would simply be different. Think about how much of modern life revolves around earning more, working longer, buying more, competing more. Without it, many social pressures might disappear. People might focus more on relationships, community, skills, reputation, contribution. It's a fascinating possibility. Would people be happier? Here's the most fascinating part. Money itself is almost worthless. Money is one of the largest shared agreements in human history. In a strange way, money is a story. The true foundation of civilization was never money. It was trust. Because without trust, money is just paper. Humans can build almost anything, including the modern world itself. Goodbye.